Hello and welcome to your pre-match show here on the Rangers Review ahead of the Premiership fixture with Kilmarnock. I'm Chris Jack and I'm the lucky one that's not at Rugby Park this evening. My two esteemed colleagues, Joshua Barry and Blair Malloy, are in position for us. Blair, how are we? How are conditions in Ayrshire from the pictures and stuff that I've seen so far? Doesn't look overly pleasant for a game of association soccer.
Chris, who doesn't love an 8 p.m. kick-off on a Saturday night, eh? Whose fantastic idea was this to bring us all down here at this hour? We're all supposed to be out enjoying the festivities. But alas, we are professional to the very end. We are here. Myself and Joshua is sitting right next to me. We'll be in place for all of your Rangers review coverage this evening. Yeah, just looking out onto the pitch. It's a bit of a wet night here in Kilmarnock. That plastic pitch, obviously, it is what it is. We'll wait and pass comment on that to see if it has much of an effect on the game. I wouldn't say resplendent would be the word that comes to mind, but it's certainly there in front of us with the rain lashing down on it just now. So it's going to make for a tricky game. I think the conditions will definitely play a part tonight. I think that it's probably influenced the team selection for the manager, as we'll talk about too in a little minute. So yeah, it's going to be a tricky tie, as it always is here at Rugby Park.
I will save the most difficult question till last, and save the will Rangers win tonight question until I've been through the side. We'll bring up your Rangers 11 for tonight, and there it is. Jack Butland as expected in goal. Max Aarons at right back. Nasser Giga, Manny Fernandez, and Jaden McHoma. Nico Raskin, Conor Barron, and Mo Diamande are the midfield three, with Jedi Gassama, Nadim Bayrami, and Bojan Majovski through the middle. When I was creating the graphic to go on the show so we can put the thumbnail on YouTube, I was thinking of a player to put on it, and my thought process was I'll stick James Tavernier on there. He's bound to start. How wrong I was. What's in terms of big calls? What's your view on Aarons over Tavernier at right back before we get on to some of the other decisions that Danny Rule has made tonight?
Well, the good journalist that you are, Chris, you definitely picked out the story anyway, inadvertently or not, that James Tavernier is at the very heart of things, but just not on the pitch tonight. He starts from the bench this evening, which may be surprised a few people, but I know a lot of people will be thinking that is the correct call. I don't think he's been great this season. I think it's becoming abundantly clear and a little bit more obvious as the weeks go on that he doesn't quite have the legs of James Tavernier a few years ago, as you would expect. I think that he struggled in the last few games. I don't think he looked at his best in the last few games. I think against Dundee United, he was pretty poor. And any other player, if they put in that level of performance, I think they would expect to see the team changed around a little bit. So I don't think people can be particularly annoyed about the fact that James Tavernier isn't. And I think it's a pretty standard change to make. Max Aarons coming in. He's hardly had the best of time of it here at Rangers in the first 6 months. I know he really had that tough period at the beginning, and he put in a little bit of more positive performances, but hasn't really hit the ground running in the Rangers shirt as yet. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on tonight. Every game on the park is another opportunity for him to really cement himself with a place in this Rangers team. And I'd like to see him be more forward thinking tonight. I'd like to see Max Aarons on the front foot. I'd like to see a player with a little bit more confidence, a little bit more bottle, actually go and try and take on his man and provide a little bit of attacking emphasis from right back, as James Tavernier used to do. And we'll see if we get that from Max Aarons tonight.
I think it's safe to say that some of the comments coming in and the reaction that I've seen on social media so far, there's not a lot of love for Max Aarons coming in that role. For me, it's not a case of it's a big call to drop James Tavernier. Every player can be dropped. I think the bigger issue is who you are replacing him with, and as you touched on there, Aarons has just not offered enough. He seems to get so far up the pitch, and then rather than making that final decisive action to head forward and try and get into a promising area, it's safe, it's backwards. It still strikes me as a guy that's short of confidence. How do you see him actually shaping up, and what can we expect from a Rangers side that for a lot of the season we've spoken about lack of leaders, lack of character, I think Aaron's for Tavernier, you're not exactly putting a leader in there in place of your captain. Is that a concern that there's just not enough guys in that team tonight that can grab this game by the scruff of the neck?
Just unmute myself there. I think that's been a constant concern for Rangers this entire season, of not having enough players that can really step up and make the moments count when it really matters. James Tavernier is, of course, on the bench tonight. He's alongside Liam Kelly, Clinton Nsiala, Lyle Cameron, Finlay Curtis, Mikey Moore, Danilo, Tello Asgard and Yusuf Chermiti. And even if you look at that from the bench, there doesn't look like a lot that can come on and be game changers. Again, you're once again looking to Mikey Moore potentially being the one who's coming in to make a difference in this team. From the start, I spoke about it during the week, that as far as characters in this team goes, Nadeem Bajrami is really one of the only ones that has shown that little bit of fight, that little bit of something about him that he maybe can go and make a difference in this team. He's a player who was cast aside a lot of this season for Rangers, but fair play to him, having the nerve to step up and take that penalty against Dundee United. We've of course seen his celebration, perhaps a little bit in jest towards the fans, saying that he had the minerals to step up and put that penalty away. But there is something to that. There is something in that actually proves that he has got a bit of something about him to play for Rangers. Max Aarons, I think it's been levelled at him a lot this season, that he's maybe not got the mentality, he's not got the character to play in this team, especially when things aren't going well. And if I go back to my earlier point that I made, I'd like to see Max Aarons actually have the bravery to go forward and take on his man tonight and actually push forward up the park, because there is nothing that frustrates the fans more than seeing players get into decent positions or run into channels and then turn back or then run down a blind alley. Just really go and hit the man and really go and try and get to that byline and make things happen. Because he's going to be in behind Jedi Gisama, who me and Josh on the Saturday show, we discussed it this morning, talking about Jedi Gisama playing on that right-hand side and how it's maybe not his best position. He looks a little bit unnatural attacking the box from that side, and it seems to be on the left where he looks a lot more like a threat. Now, whether that's to accommodate Mohamed Diamandi in the 10, but Rami on the left, I'm not sure. Will it be a bit more fluid? Will we see Gisama maybe move around? I'd like to personally see him a bit more on the left. I think that's where he's more threatening. I think that's where we analysed this morning, where he looks more threatening. So it's a little bit hard to understand what's going on up front. I don't think there's any pressure on Danny Rule yet. Let me make that abundantly clear. There's always the need to win on a Rangers manager, but I don't think there is any mounting pressure on Danny Rule yet. I think a lot of people understand that he is playing with one hand tied behind his back at the minute, but the continual usage of Jedi Gisama on this other side is something that fans will maybe start questioning the manager as to why he's still putting them there.
I think when you're in a run of form like Rangers are in and clearly searching for answers, you're throwing as many different permutations at it to try and find a bit of form, to try and find that spark. I think every team selection is going to cause a bit of debate. I see Kyle there saying that Nico Raskin should have come out of the side tonight. A conversation we've had a lot, pointing here from Paul about Cameron and Curtis coming in potentially before Diomandi, who gets that nod. Let's talk about the Rangers number 9. I said in the preview piece on the website this morning.
Do we have to, Chris? Do we have to?
We do indeed, because it's such an issue, isn't it? No, who is the best option to lead the line? Danny Rule again being asked about Chermiti in the aftermath of the draw with Dundee United in midweek. Are you pleased it's Miovski? Are you surprised it's Miovski? Is he the one that you would have gone for? Or, like me, do you think there's not actually an option? And to be honest, for me, it doesn't make a massive difference which one of the three you actually choose, because none of the three are in the kind of form that Rangers need from the player in that position.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there, Chris. I don't think it makes a massive amount of difference which one of the three you put in that number 9 position at the minute. I think they're all misfiring, as was shown the other night at Tannadice. All three of them each had a big chance of their own that they all managed to miss. So I think you can make a case for either or none of them all starting. I think that Danilo playing in that number 10 role felt to me that he was being a little bit shoehorned into the team on Wednesday night. I don't think that's really a natural position for him. I think he's a finisher. if you're going to level it in at him. He has moments of good finishing, but I don't think he's really a number 10. I actually thought Rangers earlier in the season looked a little bit more balanced and a little bit more threatening when they played with two up front. I think that I am a subscriber to the old adage that when you don't maybe have the quality in a certain position on the pitch, then you put more players there to help the guy out, to double up, to triple up, to make it a bit easier. So they have a mate next to them. You don't have good centre halves, you put three at the back. You don't have very good forwards, you put another person up there and try and make the numbers make a difference. So putting one up front is giving someone a tricky task, especially with the three players that are so badly out of form. But this is a formation he's going with, and if I had to pick one of them, I would probably pick Bojan Majowski. Like I said, I think Danilo was being shoehorned into the side a little bit with that number 10 role, and I don't think he did himself any favours in trying to get back into the team. I think Youssef Chermiti's confidence is just absolutely rock bottom at the minute. I think that miss made so many headlines in Dundee during the week that I think the first opportunity that came to him tonight, there's going to be so much pressure on him that if he makes any sort of mistake, it would be pounced upon by the Rangers support. So I think an ideal world for Danny Rule is that he gets a couple of goals of a lead, maybe the game's a little bit more comfortable, and then he can maybe introduce Youssef Chermiti, get his confidence up, and maybe get a goal at the end, and then that kind of, it takes a little bit of the pressure off. It just releases that pressure valve a little bit. I think it would almost be a dereliction of duty at the minute to throw this young boy in up front under the scrutiny that he's under, because you're putting him on a platform to fail, to be honest. Price tag or not, that's unfortunately the situation we find ourselves in. So I think Bojan Majowski is the most experienced of the three, probably at this level anyway, and I think he is probably the one that I would have went for. Hopefully he can show a little bit of form. He can show a little bit of form that we've seen him with before, especially Aberdeen boy and Majowski. We've certainly not seen it this season. I cut him a little bit of slack for the chance that he missed in the week. I know Josh was pretty harsh on him, saying that he should have scored that. He should have buried that chance, and I do think he should have bust the net. But it was probably the hardest of the three chances for me. So if he gets one of those tonight, he's going to have to start taking them, and let's see what comes of it. Hopefully he can find the scoring touch.
I said right at the top of the show, I'll save the hardest question for last. Maka, a good friend of the show here, picks up on your optimism there, saying that Rangers could be a couple of goals ahead before the manager can make changes. I think it'll be quite tight. I think it's going to be difficult for Rangers. It's clearly a must-win game. I know Danny again has spoken the last couple of days about there will be points dropped, and if they can combine both aspects in terms of the clean sheet and creating, but more importantly, converting the chances, he believes that this side is on the right track. But I've been at Rugby Park often enough over the years to know how difficult it can be for Rangers down there. It felt for a couple of seasons like that was a place where Rangers' title ambitions went to die, and they've had some really difficult nights down there. How do you see it going? And before you go, I need to get a score prediction from you as well.
Yeah, there has been a lot of nights at Kilmarnock that I remember. I think it was Janine Defoe's debut when Rangers were wearing that orange kit, and they came here, and Joe Worrell decided to give a few assists to Kilmarnock that night. That was a real blow in that league season in January. Yeah, it is notoriously a hard place to come. This pitch, as I mentioned at the top of the show, it is not going to be the easiest to play on. The conditions are not the easiest tonight. But I look at, again, the team on paper. It's not been playing well, but there is enough quality in that team that if they actually step up and put in a performance like some of these players can, then Rangers can win this game. And I think Kilmarnock, although they did get a decent result in recent weeks, I don't think they've looked their best this year. They've went on quite a long run without winning games earlier in the season. So I actually think Rangers will win tonight. I don't think it'll be massively convincing, but I do think Rangers will win. I'm going to say 2-0 to Rangers. And I think then we'll see some sweeping changes from Danny Rule. You'll probably at that point see Finlay Curtis, you'll probably see Youssef Chermiti, maybe Lyle Cameron getting introduced into the fold as well. But I think a 2-0 win, all wrapped up by 70 minutes. That's what I'm hoping for anyway, so I can get all my copy written and get up the road to a nice early bed.
There is the eternal optimist. If a man who doesn't ask for much in life apart from 3 points up the road and he's 5 things filed, bang on the whistle. You can, of course, keep up to date with all the events at Rugby Park on our social media channels. As Blair alluded to at the top of the show, myself and Josh will be live on the full-time whistle, and you can check out Blair's instant analysis on the website on the whistle as well. So wherever you are, enjoy the game, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.